Okay, this is lesson 8.8, the last lesson that we cover in chapter 8 regarding solving equations that have radicals in them. So our are to be able to solve equations with radicals, and of course, as always, we want to be able to relate them to a real world situation. So one of the things that we're going to encounter when we're working with equations that have radicals is that there's a possibility that even though we do everything right in solving for that variable, the solution we get may not work in the original equation. And when that happens, it's called an extraneous solution. So when a solution to a later equation does not check in the original equation, it is not actually a solution to the original. And we're going to encounter that with some of our examples here today. So let's say we are told that the distance to the horizon, d, miles from a spaceship, orbiting h miles above the Earth, is given by that formula. Now, of course, that formula did not format correctly when I uploaded it. So the formula is d is equal to the square root of 2rh plus h squared. Okay? R is the radius of the Earth. D is the distance to the horizon from a spaceship, and h is the distance above the Earth that spaceship is orbiting. So the question we ask here is, how high must the orbit be if the distance to the horizon is 900 miles? Okay? So they're basically giving me d. They're telling me d is equal to 900. Now the radius of the Earth, I tell you, is 4,000. So we're going to have 2 times r would be 2 times 4,000. And h is what we're solving for, because that's the height above the Earth that it's orbiting. So where we would begin would be in just simplifying what we have underneath the radical here. 2 times 4,000 is 8,000. So I have 8,000 h plus h squared. And that's equal to 900. Now to solve an equation that has a radical, once you get the radical alone on one side of the equal sign, then what you need to do is eliminate that radical by using its opposite operation. That would be to square, because this radical is square root. And that would give us 810,000 is equal to 8,000h plus h squared. Because when you square a radical, it just eliminates the radical altogether. Now I want you to notice that we have an h squared, but we also have an h. And this is a quadratic equation because of the squaring on the h. And we can't just solve it like we otherwise would using basic algebra. We're going to need to use the quadratic formula. To do that, we have to get it equal to 0 first. So we're going to need to subtract 810,000 from both sides of the equal sign. Now we've got 0 over there. So we've got 0 is equal to h squared plus 8,000h minus 810,000. Oops, I'm running out of room. Notice I put it in standard form. A is 1, B is 2, B is 8,000, and C is the negative 810,000.